This presentation is about monopolistic competition. Never ever get monopolistic competition confused with monopoly. So we'll be looking at what makes a market monopolistically competitive, and we'll be doing some diagrammatical work. Now, there are three conditions for monopolistic competition. The first one is, just like with perfect competition, you need a lot of relatively small sellers so that no one firm dominates the market. It's got to be relatively easy to get into the market and leave the market, again, just like perfect competition. However, the products are slightly different. They are differentiated, not homogeneous, and that makes it more like monopoly. So it is closer to perfect competition, but there are elements of monopoly in it, and that's why you mustn't get the two confused. My three examples that I'm showing here: motor repair isn't a monopolistically competitive market. There are lots and lots and lots of relatively small players in the market. There's some slightly bigger ones as well, like Halfords, but they don't dominate. If you look within a mile of probably where you're sitting, there'll probably be 10 to a dozen small car repair firms. Why? Because economies of scale are not particularly significant in that sector. We've all got different cars and they're all going to have different problems. Similarly, Indian restaurants, they're also in a monopolistically competitive market. There'll probably be 10 to a dozen in your particular area. And the same with dentists. There's a fair chance that if you're in a class of, say, 25, you're going to be going to perhaps 20 different dentists between you, because they all offer something slightly different. If they've managed to not give you toothache or give you pain, then those are the people that you're going to go back to. Or alternatively, they could just be local, or they could have special opening hours for you or whatever. The short-run equilibrium diagram for monopolistic competition is identical to the diagram for monopoly. Because the firms are selling differentiated products, they have some price setting power. In other words, we have a downward sloping AR curve, and because of that, we are going to have a downward sloping MR curve as well. The cost curves are normal cost curves, so we find our profit maximizing quantity from where the marginal cost curve cuts the marginal revenue curve. We follow that up to the demand curve to find the price, and the profit is the difference between the AR and the AC curve, so it's going to be that green rectangle. So are we efficient? Well, of course we're not, because this is imperfect competition among the many. How can we prove that? Well, to be productively efficient, we need to be producing at the bottom part of the AC curve. So we need to be at QP. We're at Q, so we're not productively efficient. To be adequately efficient, we'd need to be producing where MC equals AR at QA, where the bluey line is, and again, we're not there, so we are not efficient. Now, those profits are going to be attractive to newcomers. They're going to perhaps see that you're a successful cafe, and they're going to be thinking, well, if that person can make a profit, why can't we? So they might try to join that particular market close to you, and that's going to take some demand away from you. So your AR curve moves left. Your existing rivals are also going to notice your success. So let's say that you'll become successful as a motor repair firm by opening on a Sunday, and currently your rivals don't do that. Well, they're going to be thinking, well, why don't we do that as well? So they're going to make their product similar to yours. So the demand curve is also going to get slightly flatter. Don't try to draw that. Explain what I've just said in words, because the diagram is tricky enough as it is. So that will happen until you are no longer making supernormal profits. So there's no reason then for others to change or others to try to join the market. The diagram is fairly easy to understand because you're trying to compete away the supernormal profits, but unfortunately it's one of the trickiest ones to draw. So start off drawing the AC curve, but not the MC curve yet. Because the firm cannot make supernormal profits in the long run, average revenues must equal average costs. So the next line you draw in is the AR curve, and you make it tangential to the AC curve, and you can draw in the MR curve in the normal way. There are two things we know about the MC curve. First of all, it cuts the AC curve at the AC curve's lowest point, so I'll put a little blue cross in there. Secondly, because it is a profit maximizing firm, even though it's making no profits, then the profit max condition must occur below where the AR curve is tangential to the AC curve. So you'll notice I put a second blue cross there. So there are two things that we know about the MC curve. So the last line that we draw in is the MC curve. Any curve will do, provided that it goes through those two blue crossed points. So are we efficient in the long run? Well, of course we're not. It's still imperfect competition. But again, we need to prove that. You can see that we are not at the bottom of the AC curve, therefore we are not productively efficient because we are not on that purple line. Similarly, we're not at the point where the MC curve cuts the AR curve, so we are not allocatively efficient. In other words, we are not efficient. And that's it for monopolistic competition.